Hey, what's going on? Welcome to the Doug Show. My name's Doug Cunnington, and I'm happy because I'm talking to Shauna Newman, one of my friends. She blogs over at Skip Blast, and she started a new case study about building on an age domain and ordering 100,000 words of content from niche website builders, some of our mutual friends. And we're going to hear about how it's going so far. It's a fresh case study, I think just about a month old. So, Shauna, how are you doing today?
Good. Thanks for having me again.
It's always fun to catch up. You're doing interesting things all the time. For people that don't know you at all, who are you and what do you do? Just quick elevator pitch.
I just have been building sites. I started with affiliate. Now I'm focused more on kind of a hybrid monetization with display ads and affiliate offers and selling my own advertisements and things like that. Been doing this for more than a decade.
Awesome. And I'll just give another tidbit and I'll make sure that I have this right. But
Mhm.
typically you build sites from scratch and then you
Right.
sell them using a
Yes.
broker when it hits about, over six figures of value. So is that roughly right?
Yep. Yep. That's kind of the plan.
Awesome. And how many sites are you running right now?
Well, I had managed to get down to 15, but now I'm back up to about 28. So
What happened? You lost a little self-control?
yeah, it's definitely a problem.
Awesome. And again, a quick note, how big's your team? How many people or do you have?
Just my wife. She writes for me sometimes, but other than that, it's just me. And then I outsource a few content pieces here and there.
Perfect. Very lean team. I like it.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's get started with this particular case study. What's it called and what's the main idea here?
Yeah, I've named this one Project Cloudburst. And so it's a new site that I bought from Niche Website Builders. It is an age domain and it came with 100,000 words of content from their content team.
Are you able to like reveal the cost? Is that something that is proprietary and you can't share? Can you tell us how much you paid for it?
Yeah, it was just under 9,000 all in, and I think they normally charge somewhere between 7 or 8 for the 100,000 words just period. So the age domain costs a little under 2,000 when you split it out.
What are the specs on this age domain?
I don't know off the top of my head. I think it was around DR20, if I recall. It was a business that existed in the US until late 2020. I assume it was a victim of the pandemic. So it had traffic until it seems that it was bought by niche website builders.
Why did this particular package look good for you? Why did you like that domain?
Well, I was interested mostly in the niche that it was in. I had been looking for more than a year because I had seen a site selling on Motion Invest in a niche I really wanted to get into more than a year ago. So I was like, okay, I'm going to get into this niche, but I need a great age domain. So I was looking everywhere for one. I really just wanted a domain by itself, but it just so happened that Niche Website Builders was the first one to pop for me, and it came with the content, so I just went with it.
Is it something you're interested in, or why were you targeting this specific topic area?
Yeah, I don't know anything about this niche at all, but the site I'd seen for sale on Motion Invest, the guy had done no link building, and he was making 7,000 a month.
Wow. And
Yeah.
that particular site, what was the monetization strategy?
Just AdThrive, actually. So he hadn't really done any type of hybrid monetization. I mean, I assume it was a guy. I don't know, but yeah. So when I saw that, I was like, if he's making 7,000, then I can easily get to 7,000 with just ads. But if I add on other types of monetization, I can take this probably to 10 or more if I wanted.
When you started looking at that domain and analyzing it a little bit further,
Mhm.
what did you see? What things did you like? Of course, you know that he was
Mhm.
not doing link building and he was
Right.
earning a good amount, but what other signs did you see through the site?
It seemed like most of the competitors that were actually in that niche, they weren't doing a lot of link building either. It seemed like they were relying mostly on natural links. And so I thought if I can get a domain that's aged, already has great links, and then maybe I sprinkle in a little hero or something like that, then I can really take this to a whole new level than people who are currently competing.
With the keywords, I'm curious. You
Mhm.
mentioned it's monetized with ads, so
Right?
I'm assuming it's mostly informational. Can you talk about the
Yes.
keywords in general?
Yeah, so I had niche website builders do only informational content. I gave them the site that I'd seen on Motion Invest as a guide. And the way that they work is they create a spreadsheet when they're doing a keyword plan for your content where they find all of your competitors who are equal to your DR as well as lower. And then I don't know what the metrics they use exactly, but they come up with all of the keywords from those competitors to make your plan for you. And that's what they've targeted. So some of them are pretty high competition because some of these sites are actually ranking for high competition stuff, but a lot of them are pretty low competition.
All right. And I've interviewed Mark and Adam a couple times so people could look back in the archive if they want a little more details on, I think they call it the Tomb Raider strategy, right?
Yeah. It's actually how I do my own keyword research. I've just been calling it the Viking method, but it's basically the same thing.
All right. Everybody has a name. You got to put golden ratio in there if you wanted to catch on.
Next time, right? Next time.
All right, cool. So you had them do their keyword research, and so you really didn't do too much, just in general, right?
Right. Yeah. It was completely hands off for me. The only thing I even know about this niche is what I had seen that one site on Motion Invest ranking for.
All right.
And I'm not even interested in it. So my retention for it, I can't even tell you basically what content is on the live site right now.
I know the feeling.
Yeah.
The goal, and I took a look, I think the goal for this website is to earn, $5K per month. What kind of timeline do you have on that? And actually the delivery schedule for the 100,000 words of content?
Since I've never actually worked in this particular niche, I don't know how long that will take. The site that was sold was 3 years old. I obviously would like to get there much, much quicker than 3 months, which is why I didn't go with the fresh domain. And I picked 5,000 because I figure if this guy was making 7, 5 is a pretty easy number to hit maybe within 2 years or less if I add on other monetization as well. So that's why I picked that target. From when I ordered the domain to when the site was completed and delivered, it was only about 2 months.
Okay, gotcha. And actually, when did you start working on this?
With Niche Website Builders?
Yes.
October,
and then you got the site in mid-December. Got it.
Yes.
Okay, so the whole 100,000 words of content was done in 2 months?
Yeah, that seems to be pretty quick. I use them actually just to write content on some of my other sites, and they're running about 2 months for about 20,000 words with those sites right now. So it was a pretty quick turnaround, I felt like, for the 100,000 words with the site build.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I wonder just from a project management standpoint, if they're able to put several writers writing on the same topic so they can maybe work a little more efficiently as they're getting familiar. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I would assume, but I'm not sure. I don't know either.
Okay. And before we get into some of the details of what has transpired in the last 6 weeks since the site has been delivered, for your normal sites that you're building from scratch, how long do you normally expect it to take to get to 5K per month?
It really depends on the niche and what the competition is like in it. I would say 2 to 3 years on average, though, if you're actually focusing on it and doing content regularly and things like that. And there's a lot of things at play though. If you're doing ads, what's the RPM like? I've had sites in the gaming niche where you get under $5 per 1,000 views. So,
gotcha. So, really depends a lot on that. All right. And for an age domain, again, I know it's going to vary for the very same reasons, but how much faster do you expect an age domain to work than a fresh domain?
Pretty much instantaneous. I expect to start to see rankings within a week. And actually, when I was delivered the entire site build from Niche Website Builders, I started getting page 1 rankings within that week. Within just a few days, I was number 5 for several keywords and things like that. So it was looking really good at first.
Okay. Now, I like the foreshadowing there, but before we get to that portion, if someone has built on an age domain and they're publishing content and they're not seeing results, what are some things they can look at for issues? I've gotten a few emails where basically someone's a year in and they're barely getting any traffic, and if they started with a new domain, they probably should have been doing better. Yeah. So what problem areas do people run into?
Obviously, when you're buying age domain, it's a risk. You never know if it's actually going to work out for you or not. I would say after a year, though, something has to be seriously wrong if you're not ranking. I think I would start by inspecting those links that are pointing at the site. Maybe you need fresh links. Maybe the links are so old that they're not really giving you the juice that they used to. So maybe just hit it with some fresh links, see if that works. I think also a lot of people underestimate how good their content actually is. So I would look into that, compare it to what else is ranking. Maybe there's something going on with that. And of course, lately, this indexing problem that Google has been dealing with. I think they've said they fixed it, but they clearly haven't, because I have sites undergoing the same problem where, you're more than a month into it, nothing's getting indexed at all. You go into Search Console and it says that it's been crawled or discovered but not indexed, and you're like, okay, why not?
And was that an actual issue? The last time I looked it up to see what John Miller was saying, I believe he was like, you know what? We just don't think it's good enough yet. So yeah, what do you know? What have I missed out there?
Well, I have not had that problem on the site from Niche Website Builders, but I have another site that I started on a fresh domain that they've been doing the content for. And there's nothing wrong with the content at all. And nothing is indexed. It's been like a month and nothing is indexed. And there's no reason for it. I mean, the content is good. So yeah, there's seriously a problem going on. And then I have a few age domains that I've been just running some tests on, putting some content up on. And like one of those gets indexed within like 2 days, and the other one, maybe 2 weeks later, one post will get indexed. And then 2 weeks later, another post will get indexed. So I'm not really sure what's going on, especially when we have these sites that are using AI and the scraped content, and they're putting up 100,000 posts in a week and they're indexed just fine.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. And I mean, I get the question all the time. And if there is an issue, like it seems like there's nothing we can do except like publish more content and cross our fingers. But I actually had a domain, and we may have talked about it off the record at some point, where it was in the sandbox for about 9 months or so. And then finally, like it was getting a little traffic, but like you're saying, a lot of posts were not indexed. And I'm lazy, so I don't want to waste time like manually indexing all these things, right? Yeah. So I would occasionally go do a few, and then it would work or not work. But eventually it came out of the sandbox, but it was definitely, a test of faith if this was going to work or not.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, that's another thing for people to look out for. All right. The site was delivered. It took about 2 months, very fast delivery. So nice job to Mark and Adam and their team. So what's been going on over the last few weeks?
So when I got the site delivered, it had a bunch of plugins already pre-installed and things that I don't normally put on my sites. Like they had Yoast installed, and I just hate using Yoast. I prefer using Rank Math. So I was like, I should change out some of these plugins I don't want, but maybe I shouldn't. So about 10 days after I got the site, I went ahead and I changed out Yoast for Rank Math. That was literally all I did to the site. 2 days later, impressions went down in Search Console, and the traffic, like my rankings, just started bottoming out for no reason. So then on New Year's Eve, I get a message from Adam at Niche Website Builders like, what's going on with your site? Did you do anything? And I was like, well, I changed out Yoast for Rank Math. And he's like, that's all you did? And I was like, yeah, that's all I did. He's like, have you seen the rankings? I was like, yeah, I've seen the rankings. So he said, well, let's revert it back to Yoast and see what happens. He said, let's give it a few weeks. So that was New Year's Eve, and I think he didn't change it until January 3rd. And today's the 25th, 26th, it's still not getting any traffic. Like my Ahrefs organic movements, it's just lost. So no traffic. It was already getting like 20 or 30 page views a day before this happened. So he had thought maybe the rank math switch had been the problem, but it's been, 3 weeks, so I don't really think that's what's at play here. I did find there was an unconfirmed Google update 2 days after I had changed out the Rank Math and Yoast plugins. So I kind of think it got caught up in some kind of algorithm thing, but it was an unconfirmed thing, so like nobody knows what was being targeted. So I have no idea what to focus on to get this site ranking right now. So
wow. And it's one of those deals where it could just be the confirmation bias of you did the thing a couple days before. It coincided perfectly. Hey, it's Doug here. I wanted to quickly jump in and do an ad for myself. This whole thing is brought to you by me and Niche Site Project. So go head over to Niche Site Project. There's a new directory of affiliate programs that are not Amazon. It's organized by the niche. So if you are looking for a niche, for example, you can browse and see what different options you may have out there. Or if you already have a site and maybe you are focusing on a specific niche and you know there's some products out there, but you're unsure if there's an affiliate program, you can check out the list as well. I'll put a link in the description so you can check it out. And of course, finish watching this interview with Shauna. But I would love it if you checked out that directory, and you can get some great ideas for different affiliate programs, including what the commission rate is, the cookie length, and all those other details. Let's get back to the interview.
Yeah.
So, has this kind of thing happened to you before?
No, and I've changed out plenty of sites plugins like that with Rank Math before because I used to use SEO Press and it's never happened. So I now when I searched on Google, I did find a few people in the past year or so commenting on like support forums saying that they were having indexing issues and they had Rank Math. But like I feel like it's one of those causation correlation things where we don't really know that that's what the problem is. So I'm kind of leaning towards that's not the issue. Which points to the algorithm, which would then point more at the domain itself. But it was a live business, the site was live until right before they bought it. It's got great links, highly niche relevant, high authority links. So did it get just trapped when it shouldn't have in the algorithm update? Is there something with the content I don't know about because I don't really know the niche that well? But right now, there's plenty of DR0 and DR4 sites ranking for the keywords that this site was ranking for like a week. So,
man, so step like zooming out away from like the business sense a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how did you feel when you realized that the rankings dropped and something is very wrong?
Well, I mean, it was a lot of money for that to be happening so quickly. But on the one hand, the domain itself was less than $2,000. So it's worst case scenario at this point, I get another domain, move all the content. But I'm not quite at that point yet. Of course, that's just like looking down the road. What's the worst case scenario here? So my thought right now is what to focus on first, because I want to get it ranking. I want to get it ranking, yesterday. So I'm losing time because I'm trying to figure out what to focus on first. So my options are, I think, maybe add more content, go through the existing content, kind of get familiar with the niche, see if it's as quality as I think it is or not, add more links, maybe buy another age domain that's relevant, 301 it, because I already have one from GoDaddy Auctions. I'm just waiting to do that too, but I don't want to do it yet in case I have to change the domain. Everything else with the site is fine. Search Console, there's no problems. Everything is indexed. Although there is one weird problem I'm having where the pages are all indexed, but when you do site domain.com, only 5 posts come up, which is really odd. I've never seen that before either. So
that is odd. Yeah, I haven't heard of that without seeing evidence on the Search Console that says some of those are not indexed. Interesting.
Yeah, it says they're all indexed, and they are. I've manually verified all of the posts to make sure they're actually indexed. So
you're perfect here, following my thought process, because I was going to say, okay, what kind of stuff do you look at? So we'll unpack all of that. One thing that you mentioned is the quality of the content, and you need to verify that. So how are you going to verify the quality of the content when you don't know much about the niche?
Unfortunately, that means I'm going to have to do a lot of reading about things I don't care about reading, to kind of get familiar, see like the terminology that's used in this industry, how people talk about it, and make sure that what is written in the content is actually accurate,
Okay. So it's
and I should preface that with I've been using niche website builders for, I don't know, maybe more than 6 months now, maybe 9 months to write content for sites. And I've never had a problem with their content, but it is still something I need to look at just to cover all my bases.
Right. And I mean, yes, it was good that you mentioned the disclaimer on that. I've used them for, many, probably well over 100,000 words of content And yeah, the quality is fine. And the
Mhm.
thing that we're talking about is like the nuance, right? I'm a home brewer
Mhm.
of beer. So if someone that doesn't know the terminology that we use as beer judges, I would clearly be able to see within the first paragraph that the person didn't know what they were talking about, and then I would
Right.
bounce. So we're talking
Mhm.
about that level of like obsession.
Right.
All right. For the other areas, you even mentioned that you don't know, where to focus because there's a few
Right.
options. Each
Mhm.
one will take some time. So how do you prioritize what to take a look at and what to focus your efforts on?
Well, I decided actually that I should probably start with the links because I think that will be the least time consuming if I focus on doing Hero for it. I also have a couple of sites that I think could be shoulder niche relevant that I already have existing that I could use to link out to it as well. So I'm going to try that. I've also actually looked in the search for sites that are in the niche that I can tell are old and abandoned, and I've been contacting people trying to buy their sites, but so far no one has written me back because I was thinking if I can buy a small site that no one's working on for a few $1,000s, move all of that to his existing site, maybe that'll like turbo boost it back to being alive, but I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, it's stressful. And someone just emailed me the other day if they should, build on an age domain and hire an
Right.
agency to do the work. And my advice was if you do have the resources, it could be a good decision.
Mhm.
However, there's no guarantee that it's going to
Yeah.
work. And this is a good example
Mhm. Right.
where maybe it's fine. Maybe an algorithm update that's
Yeah.
minor can
Mhm.
impact it, but we just don't know what's going to happen in the future.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and that's the worst part is not knowing. Like, if Google had said that unconfirmed update targeted X, then I would know, okay, I need to look at X to see how this got caught up in this filter clearly. And should it have gotten caught up or should it not have gotten caught up? So,
So you're going to try to get some new fresh links to the site
right.
and see how it goes. So what's next after that?
After that, what I was thinking about was seeing if I could find a new keyword that has like maybe all DR under 5 ranking, meaning the site should definitely rank with its authority that it has, and see where it ranks. And then that will kind of clue me in what does Google think the authority of this site is right now? Because if it can't beat on top 10, results if everyone is DR5 or under, then there's a serious problem with authority more than likely. And that will say, yes, definitely focus on links. So,
Is there a chance, actually, before I move on to another
mhm.
subject, when you test that, will you publish like 5 or 10 articles? Like an N of one could be really
Right.
hard to verify. So how many articles will you publish with that low keyword target?
I think what I would likely do is focus on a very small cluster. So maybe no more than 5. So it's going to be like super niche down, with one of them getting all of the internal links from the other 4. And that will really give me a great idea of how Google sees the authority of the site.
Perfect. All right. And I can't remember what I was going to ask after that, but okay. So you're working your way through, and I know what it was. So if you discover that Google perhaps thinks that the authority is lower than what's reported from Ahrefs or elsewhere, you mentioned, oh, okay, now I need to get more links to the site. Is there a chance that there's something wrong with the domain and putting more links to the site won't help? And it'd be better
Yeah.
just to, move to a fresh domain?
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's one of those things where you don't really know until you try. And I've had that happen before with H domains in the past. And I mean, that's one of those things where if you're going into H domains, not only do you have to be prepared to lose the money you spend on the domain, but the money or time you put into building links to it if you are trying something like this. So, like you said, I always tell people if you're new and you don't have the money to lose, don't try it.
It's definitely a gamble. When we
Yeah.
opened up, there's all these pros, and you could save
Mhm.
time and potentially like earn more money faster. Like it just sounds like a no brainer. But when it doesn't work, it can potentially not work at all and waste a huge amount of time,
Yeah.
which is even worse
Yeah.
than the money in some cases, because you can't go back and grab that time, but you could maybe earn some more money.
Yeah, and I should point out too that they did a great job rebuilding it. I think 10 or 15 of the articles they wrote focus on what the business used to be to kind of keep that really specific topical relevance. So there's really no reason that I can see why this domain is suffering the way that it is right now, because they did everything right.
Okay. And with that, so it's quick, just a quick note for people.
Mhm.
When Niche Website Builders rebuilt those old pages, you 301 redirect those old
Right.
specific URLs to the new ones.
Right. We were actually able to keep the URL structure. So the links were already pointed out. They just created new content. So they didn't like take any content from the Wayback Machine or anything like that. It's completely unique, fresh content.
Perfect.
But it's still the same topic.
Got it. Okay, and that's the right way to do it, so you don't run into copyright issues, although that would be unusual. And quick teaser, Sean and I are going to talk about copyright issues in an upcoming episode soon, so keep an ear out for that. Well, Shauna, this sounds like something we'll want to follow along with in the future. So I guess you're going to, move on with your plan and everything. Anything else to note before we wrap for this session?
Not about this. Anyone who signs up for one of my courses, I want to mention, gets access to a private forum just for students. And I'm actually sharing a lot more details about this specific case study only in that forum. So just a teaser for anyone out there who's thinking about buying a course.
Okay, cool. Well, actually, this is a great spot. So you blog over at Skip Blast, and I know you have a few courses, so I'll give you a chance to mention maybe one or two recent ones, or things that seem to be very popular out there.
Yeah, lately my topic clusters course has been really popular, and I actually referenced that that's something I'm going to do on trying to revive this site. So if anyone wants to get into that, I've actually just found some new topic cluster tools that I'm going to be adding some new lessons to that course.
Awesome. We'll link up to that stuff, and we'll link to this specific case study too, so people can go follow along as you make progress. You will make progress.
Let's hope.
All right. Thanks, Shauna.
Thanks.
Thanks to Shauna for hanging out with me today. She always has great stories to tell. You can check out her blog. We'll put a link in the show notes so you can get to it. I also want to plug my podcast. It's called The Doug Show, and interviews like this are over on The Doug Show. If you like the audio format only, there are also other episodes that I don't publish on YouTube. So I encourage you to check out The Doug Show on your favorite podcast player. And I will plug my other podcast, Mile High Fi. So if you haven't checked that out, there is a YouTube channel. It's Mile High Fi, and my partner, Carl Jensen, and I talk about personal finance and financial independence. There are some lifestyle topics and other like productivity kind of ideas as well. It's really just whatever we're interested in, but there's a heavy focus on retiring early, financial independence, and some of those ideas around basically living the life that you want to live and not working at a job that you hate. So thanks a lot. I will also plug some of Shauna's courses. She's over at Skip Blast Digital Academy, and there's a lot of courses over there. You have the Beginner's Guide to Niche Authority Sites, Success, a focused niche selection that works. You have the Website Flipping Masterclass Bundle, and you have Flipping for Site Builders and Flipping for Investors, Age Domains. You have Building Your Own Haro Team, Rule the SERPs with Topic Clusters, and there's a whole course collection. I am an affiliate. These courses are fantastic. Shauna is a very clear communicator and very smart. She has a lot of data behind all the things that she teaches. So if you happen to purchase something, I greatly appreciate it because I get a commission if you do. And there's no reason not to check out one of the courses if it's something that you're looking to figure out. And I will, I'll plug courses in general. There's a great motivator if you actually invest in some education. If you just get free stuff all the time, it's really easy to not take action. But if you're like me at all, if I put money into something, I feel that sunk cost. I know I've enrolled in a course and I'm going to do that work. I'm going to go and log in, and every time something's dripped out, I'm going to make sure I do all the assignments. I'm going to ask questions and make sure I understand it completely. So courses are fantastic, especially if you need that external motivation, knowing that you've spent money on something. So I'll leave it at that. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you dig these kind of interviews and you are not yet subscribed.